It's day 13 of this bush early girl germination experiment. So all of the seedlings have germinated, and I'm counting 21 total. So unlike in my honeydew series, where I promised early on not to interfere, in this case I went around and interfered by manually removing, in a very gingerly fashion, all the seed husks that were still stuck to some of the seedlings. On the ground there you can see a piece of leaf that I ripped off of this plant that's now zoomed in on, but that's just a fraction of one leaf, so that's no big deal. In the case of this plant, there's one true leaf that's developing in another on the left side, and what you see there, those are all leaflets. So there's one big leaflet and two small ones developing. I think the reason why some of the seedlings are growing much slower than the others is because they're not watered evenly. So I addressed this problem by watering more for the ones that don't seem to be doing as well. It's nighttime, day 14, so I'm looking through my blinds from the living room onto the balcony, and I saw that the leaves for these seedlings, for the bush early girl tomato plants, are all folded up, kind of in a Y shape. And I experienced something like this with the honeydew seedlings in the honeydew germination experiment series. And my theory on that was that the leaves form this Y shape so that if there's any dew in overnight or during early morning, it'll condense, form larger droplets, and basically fall along the stem and soak the soil directly at the base of the stem, and that would water the plant however much that could possibly generate. But every drop counts for a nascent seedling with shallow roots that can't go that down deep into the soil to get water. It's day 18. So as you can see, there's a lot more growth, although it's a lot slower than in the cases of the vines I have, such as honeydew and sweet potato. And that's because this all has to do with the size of the seed. If there's very, very little seed mass, as is the case in these, they're just tiny little spheres, then you don't have anywhere near the amount of nutrients to get the seedling started. So it's a low parental investment, high volume of offspring kind of reproduction strategy for the tomato plant. So here's a closer look. These are the cotyledons. They're much bigger now. And these are the starter leaves. They always look different. And these are the pinch marks for where the seed husk was before I took it off. And what we're looking at here is an entire leaf. And the smaller structures are leaflets. So I guess there's like 5 parts there, leaflets. And maybe 3 here. And you can kind of see 2 new leaf structures coming out, flanking the shoot apical meristem in the middle. So there you have it. It's like looking at a little mini forest of tomato plants, and the stems are thickening, and they have that characteristic look of nightshade kind of plants. But here's a very tiny seedling, and I took the seed husk off that, but it's just really, really slow to develop compared to everything else. Maybe it's just not getting enough water. It's day 21, and it's a cloudy day, so the videography is different, but the forest is growing. And as you can see, the stems and leaves are getting much bigger, but there's still this tiny seedling here. The leaves now fill up the macro view, and the leaflets are much larger. So tomato plants are very interesting in that they have these leaflets, and I'm counting, I guess, 5 here that comprise one leaf. And you have shoot apical meristem in the middle. And this one seems to have 3, unless I'm counting wrong. Tomato plant stems seem to be a lot more robust than those of honeydew, so I don't have to worry about these seedlings falling over after the first few days, and that's very welcome news. It is, after all, the bush early girl, so it should be like a bush.